Hi there, my name is Ace, and welcome to the very first episode of Climate Feed, right here on Critical Feed. This is basically our first exclusive episode and not just excerpts from our podcast. We are a bit late because we haven't put anything on the channel for a while because we were busy with school and all of that stuff, but we're finally here, and welcome to the very first episode of Climate Feed, our new weekly climate news roundup. My name is Ace, as I've said, and let's find out about some terrible things happening to our planet right now. So the first article we got is from Science Alert. So the article reports on how there's a major food chain shift happening in the Arctic as we speak. So what's happening in the Arctic? Turns out phytoplankton in the Arctic Ocean has gone up by a whopping 57%. And this is because as things are warming up, parts of the ocean that are supposed to be covered in ice are now exposed to sunlight, so more area for phytoplankton to grow. So what does it mean to the Earth? Well, it can mean a lot of things. Scientists are unsure how this is going to affect the food chain in the Arctic Ocean. We don't know what might happen, potentially because these phytoplankton will be taking up the nutrients that are available for other creatures, other animals and plants in the ocean. So it might potentially be harmful for the food chain over there, or it could not. We don't know. We have to wait and see. There's an argument to be made that because the phytoplankton, they're plants, they can suck up the carbon dioxide as well, but turns out they're not that they don't contribute to the they don't take up as much carbon dioxide as some other plants, so it might not be making a lot of difference. So it could be potentially harmful. Further studies can help us understand what such vast algal blooms mean to the future of the Arctic. The article, again, just like all other articles, you can find the link in the description, the citation. It's written by Mike McCrae. Moving on. Well, more Arctic news. We have intense Arctic wildfires, and they're so intense they set a new pollution record. So there have been recent wildfires in the Arctic, and well, they've been going on for a while now this year, but the recent ones are the most polluting in the 18 years of data collection. And the reason we are seeing these increased wildfires in the Arctic is because the Arctic is warming up 2.5 times faster than the global average, which is bad, which is very bad. The last record for biggest forest fires in the Arctic was 2019, and just a year later, that record's broken. So it turns out the Siberian Arctic right now, not right now, but on the 20th of June, it hit 38 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Fahrenheit, for those of you who are more familiar with the Fahrenheit scale, which is apparently the hottest in history. That is, since we started collecting data on this. And the snow cover, apparently it reached an all-time low in the June of 2020, which is just last month. So yeah, really bad news. Arctic is doing really bad, folks. We need to take some immediate climate action so that we can, prevent the world from burning down. This isn't fine. Yeah, but the next news we have is some positive news. We got some news from Denmark. Apparently, Denmark's left-wing coalition adopted a revolutionary climate law to cut emissions by roughly 70% by 2030. BBC's article reports on this, and they're saying that this could be the law that could make, technically, climate change illegal. So what does the law do? The law targets carbon neutrality for Denmark by 2020, and it includes a robust evidence-driven monitoring system. So it's not just some random bullshit that some politicians spewed out just so that they could get more votes. This is actually evidence-driven, and scientists are going to be helping out with this. The new targets are actually legally binding. They're not toothless agreements like the Paris Accord, and they'll be set every 5 years with a 10-year perspective. The first of these agreements, targets will be set in 2020. The law has measures preventing it from being annulled by future governments, so it's amazing. So even if they lose the next election, the other party apparently cannot just annul this, which is amazing. Something America should do too. I mean, something every country should do. This is just great. Denmark, back at it again. This law is apparently, again, as I mentioned, making climate change, or at least inaction towards taking action towards climate change, illegal by holding the government itself accountable by the parliament. So the parliament will be keeping a close watch on making sure that these targets are met. Amazing. Good job, Denmark, and hope more countries learn from you. 70% is not enough. We need 100%, considering how bad, how shitty our situation is. But even then, 70% is amazing, and I hope more countries adopt this. So the next news we have is from North Dakota. The article is from The Guardian. Again, sources are in the description below. So what happened in North Dakota? The news is about the North Bakken Expansion Project, which is a pipeline project running right now in North Dakota. Obviously, it pissed off a lot of environmentalists because it's bad for the environment, and it also pissed off Native American nations because it cuts through their land. So people are against this. But what happened is, in March, apparently the governor of North Dakota, Doug Burgum, as well as several other politicians and legislators, wrote letters to the FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, the commission that, oversees all of this, and other key regulatory agencies in support of the pipeline. Well, okay, so what about it? Well, turns out this letter was lifted word for word from a template sent by the Senior Public Affairs Officer, Justin Dever of MDU Resources, a subsidiary of the fossil fuel giant WBI Energy, which actually runs the pipeline, as reported by Guardian's article, which is a big oopsie. So they were just copying the letter, a template that the corporation sent them to just support the pipeline. Obviously, they do this because when the elections come around, these companies, these corporations, give them a lot of money for their campaigns. So obviously, they listen to it. And it gets even more interesting. It wasn't just the governor of North Dakota, but several other politicians were also involved with reproducing the template just as is. I mean, they're so dumb they can't even rewrite this stuff. It's like when your friend gives you their homework and then be like, make sure that it looks different. But yeah, so MD Resources gave the template to more politicians, including State Senator of North Dakota, Dale Patton, North Dakota House Representatives Keith Kempenick and Denton Zupke. The list of people who used the template provided by the Fossil Fuel Corporation goes even farther, including several North Dakota legislators, as well as as a commissioner. So yeah, basically tells us how deep the influence of these fossil fuel corporation goes. I think there was an episode with John Oliver about politicians just word for word using templates provided by not just fossil fuel corporations but other corporations as well to just do their bidding. It's just ridiculous. They're so dumb they can't even change the letter. They just get caught red-handed. Yeah, so they did a big oopsie, kind of going mask off. Don't trust the fossil fuel corporation, folk. In fact, just don't trust any corporation. They're just in it for themselves. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about anything. All they care about is their bottom line and keeping their shareholders happy. And if it means selling off their own parents, they'll do it. So yeah, bad corporations. Next, we have some more sad news. It turns out that we might have underestimated the effects of global warming. Apparently, tropical plants might suffer even more than we initially thought because the increasing temperatures will be making it harder for the seeds of the plants to germinate properly. Study finds, and again, the article is from the Guardian, sources in the description yet again. Global heating will be making it much harder for tropical plants around the world to germinate, with temperatures becoming too hot for the seeds of apparently 1 in 5 plants by the year 2070. I mean, 2070 ain't that far away, and most of us Zoomers will be alive. So, yeah, 1 in 5 plants. That's a yikes. Apparently, the scientists thought that tropical plants would be much more resistant to the changing temperatures, but turns out they're not as resistant, and they will be getting impacted hard. 1 in 5 plants is significant, and according to Alexander Sentinella, the lead researcher behind the study, tropical plants actually have a lower tolerance for have a lower temperature range of tolerance in which they can grow and get big and stuff, probably because of the fact that they're more adapted to the tropical climate, which means that they're just not used to any other temperature, hot or colder. Before the study, researchers thought that tropical areas would be safer havens for plants because they're already used to hotter conditions, but turns out they're wrong. That's a big yikes movement over here. Again, climate change bad, right? We got to take action, and just like in Denmark, it'd be better if all of these countries took better action. All right, the last news article we got is again from Guardian, and it's about how CO2 in the Earth's atmosphere is nearing levels of 15 million years ago. Yeah, apparently within the next 5 years, according to the current rate at which atmospheric carbon dioxide levels are increasing, we're going to hit 427 ppm. And these levels apparently have not been seen since the mid-Pliocene period, about 3.3 million years ago, according to scientists. The paper was published in the Journal of Nature Scientific Reports. Researchers from University of Southampton constructed a very high-resolution atmospheric carbon dioxide record during the Pliocene using boron levels in tiny fossils from the deep ocean sediments of the Caribbean Sea. And according to their estimates, we haven't seen these carbon dioxide levels in 15 million years ago. Just to give you an idea of apparently how long ago that was, the article says that was back when humans and orangutans had the same ancestor. We hadn't still split up from our ancestor, the mighty orangutan, yet. That's very long ago, and that gives us a perspective of how much we have changed our global climate. I mean, some people still find it hard to believe that we, as a single species, could do so much to the planet. But yeah, we gotta look at how much just emissions we cause on a daily basis. The number of vehicles we have globally, the number of factories we have, and all that stuff. I've met some people who say that, but volcanoes do more than that. But there aren't that many volcanoes compared to like number of cars and factories and people around. We just use too much energy, and of course the energy is mostly used. Most of the fossil fuel consumption is from the quote-unquote first world countries. And we need to really do whatever Denmark's doing and some other Nordic countries are doing and cut our emissions down significantly. It's not about the population, it's more about the consumption, because per capita, countries that have more people like India, China, several other countries in Africa, they consume way less they emit way less carbon dioxide, and they consume way less fossil fuel compared to first world countries like America. America just it just eats a lot of carbon dioxide and shits out a lot of emission. And it's not just America, Australia, all of these countries. So yeah, we gotta do what Denmark is doing. Good for you, Denmark, and I hope other countries can realize that, well, it's completely possible. We need to get rid of the politicians, these dinosaurs who don't believe in science, out of their office, replace them with more progressive candidates who actually have even people with basic understanding of science are fine compared to some of the politicians we have right now in power. So yeah, folks, that wraps up our first episode of Climate Feed. We hope that you've enjoyed it. Leave your comments below. Give us suggestions. Like if you like it. Dislike if you dislike the video. If you found it helpful, subscribe, because we're going to make more. Hopefully every week or every other week you'll find Climate Feed based on what new reports we see that are fascinating. And thank you for tuning in, and hope to see you on next week.